It's wonderful to be able to talk to him about all the latest in UFO news. Luckily, you guys get to keep up to date on that. You don't have to wait for us to be on Coast to Coast every 3 months or so. You get all the news right here on a weekly basis. We also have it on our website on a daily basis because we are flipping so cool. And one of the flipping cool people who help us get the news out to you on a regular basis is our news correspondent who is here today to tell us about the UFO news this week. The gentleman I speak of is none other than Mr. Jason McClellan.
How are you, sir?
Good. I gave you a pretty long intro there.
Yeah, and you are full of flattery, my friend.
Well, people got to understand, how important, all this is.
Well, this all is important.
Yes.
I myself am not important.
Oh, cut it out.
All right. Well, let's do this. This is your Open Minds News UFO News Brief for Monday, August 29th, 2011. Internet giant Google wants to be prepared for any disaster that could possibly materialize, including an extraterrestrial invasion. Does Google know something the rest of us don't? Probably not.
Google it.
But according to the Next Web, Aaron Feigenbaum, Google's enterprise director of security, recently revealed that the company's emergency preparedness plan tries to include a wide variety of disaster scenarios. In an interview with Computer World, Feigenbaum stated, "We play a lot of games here. Part of our disaster recovery plan is to assume the worst has happened. In last year's scenario, Google was attacked by aliens and California was off the map. We asked, what can we do? How do we run our infrastructure?" And the inclusion of an alien attack in Google's disaster planning isn't too shocking because, as we talked about last week and the week before, this theme of these evil aliens attacking us is unfortunately quite popular right now.
Yeah, it's a very big thing. And, of course, there's that story you talked about last week where NASA was said to have written this report, but it wasn't NASA. It was
a NASA
student.
Scientist, right.
But regardless, they're talking about some of those types of scenarios. So,
right, scientific research articles, television shows, movies, they're all doing this.
Yep.
Alien invasion seems to be on their minds for some reason.
At least they'll pretend to be ready. They can hire someone who... in these tough economic times who can have a job figuring all this out.
Oh, yeah, like they said at Google, I'm sure they've got a bunch of gamers working there. And,
yeah.
Let's play some alien games.
We're going to shoot them with lasers.
Work that into our serious work.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody got paid big for that.
Yep.
Well, there's been a lot going on in the television world, and the Syfy channel has announced yet another television series that will explore the topic of UFOs. Paranormal Witness will use what are claimed to be true stories to present accounts of UFO sightings, in addition to other paranormal encounters. This is how the series is described on the Syfy's website. Don't watch it alone. Paranormal Witness is an intense, cinematic, high-octane drama documentary series. The show brings to life the true stories of people who have lived through explanation-defying paranormal experiences. Using a mixture of intimate first-hand testimony, personal photos, and real footage, combined with gritty, realistic drama, Paranormal Witness will transport you into a world turned upside down by extraordinary and terrifying events. Syfy already airs a number of shows that explore UFOs and other paranormal phenomena, including Fact or Fake, Paranormal Files, and that has Ben Hansen on it, who was a guest earlier this year on Open Minds Radio, and he will also be speaking at the 2012 International UFO Congress here in February. But this series, Paranormal Witness, will premiere on Wednesday, September 7th, so check your local listings for times on that. And judging by the previews, I can't tell if this is going to be a good show or not. It seems to be super hyped up drama.
Yeah, really hyped up, and this is the sort of thing we investigate and we live with. And it's not really, it gets exciting at times, but typically it's not that crazy and wild.
Certainly a lot of their hyped up stuff that they're pushing hard seems to be a lot of, more paranormal ghost type things with chairs flying across rooms and things like that.
People freaking out.
But they claim they're going to use some real footage, so hopefully they'll have some real footage, real UFO footage and some ghost footage. But I think they're also going to have a lot of reenactments too. That's what the previews led me to believe because it's super drama.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. We'll see what they do. I mean, it could be fun.
Right.
Cross our fingers and
Right.
hope for the best, I
Again,
guess.
it's supposedly based off of true stories, so that could be interesting. Well, also on television, nuclear physicist and UFO researcher Stanton Friedman was a guest on MSNBC's Dylan Ratigan's show a couple weeks ago to lend his opinion regarding the upcoming movie Apollo 18 and the conspiracies associated with the mission that was allegedly scrapped by NASA. The Joy Behar Show on CNN's HLN hosted a panel of guests last Wednesday to discuss UFOs and the existence of extraterrestrials. This panel included journalist Leslie Kean, former Ministry of Defense UFO researcher Nick Pope, filmmaker James Fox, and former Arizona Governor Fife Symington. The History Channel aired a 2-hour special on Thursday night titled Secret Access, UFOs on the Record, based on Leslie Kean's New York Times bestseller, UFOs, Generals, Pilots, and Government Officials Go on the Record. Kean explained to the Huffington Post, the theme of the program is that UFOs exist, but there's a small percentage of sightings that are significant and haven't been explained. Secret Access, UFOs on the Record, which can already be pre-ordered on DVD in the History Channel's online store, was followed by a new episode of Ancient Aliens that explored the connection between extraterrestrials and rituals performed by humans. While the UFO subject is being addressed in television specials and news programs, it's not a new occurrence, but I don't know, would you agree with me on this, that it seems even slightly that the attitude of the media seems to have shifted slightly, where they seem to be taking the subject slightly more seriously as we progress?
I personally think so. I think it's been a slow, gradual thing where it used to be the norm where everything was tongue-in-cheek and made to look silly. But these days, it's just the opposite, I think. We look at the news all the time. Most of these stories, or at least 50%, are taken pretty seriously. They just talk about the UFO sighting or the event that's happened, and they don't make fun of it. Sure, there's a lot that do, but not all of them. And for instance, in these History Channel specials with this show with Leslie Kean, and really most of her coverage, except for, when she was on what was the Comedy Central show?
Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, and Stephen Colbert, which is supposed to be funny, it was taken very seriously. So I personally think so. I think it continues to get better and better.
Well, even when they were on when this panel was recently on the Joy Behar Show, it's usually a very comedic show. That's the point of the show. They do a lot of entertainment news and things like that. And granted, Joy Behar wasn't there. They had a fill-in host. But overall, the subject was treated very seriously. There were some other questions thrown in, like what do you think of crop circles and things like that didn't necessarily relate to what this panel was talking about.
Right.
But overall, the subject was addressed seriously, and this History Channel special, Secret Access UFOs on the Record, was done very professionally, and, Leslie got to talk quite a bit, Nick Pope. I mean, these experts were featured prominently, and basically the facts were just delivered. It was really cool, and it was a really interesting show to watch because it's different from a lot of the other things out there.
And these are the perfect people to present it because they stick to hard facts, what we know, what we can demonstrate, not a lot of information that is just speculation. So I love that about them. So I think it's great. I'm really happy with all of the attention that Leslie's work has been getting.
Right, and it's my opinion that I think Leslie Kean managed to pull off what I think her intent was with that special, and that is to highlight the importance of that we do need some sort of official organization to be looking into UFOs, because that's really what she pushed in this, pointing out that yes, there are things in our sky, we have proof of this, but there isn't an organization that people can go to that is assigned to investigate this. We have our MUFONs and our other organizations to report things, but we don't have an official group that's going out and actually investigating this.
Yeah, I think the problem with a lot of these groups,
governmental level.
Well, and the resources, with the projects that get done at universities or governmental levels, they get a lot of funding. And then you have a lot of resources, a lot of equipment that can be spent, and people full-time, working on these issues. We haven't really had that. And, if we did, we would get a lot further, I think. And that's what she's talking about. Even with MUFON, it's everybody working when they can in their own time. And these are all people with families, with jobs. So that very little time gets to be actually put towards these efforts. So a full-time, backed organization, private, or I think a university would be best. That'd be great if it was something they took serious.
I agree. But bottom line, I do think these television shows and news programs, are moving in the right direction, and the subject is being taken more seriously, which is a wonderful thing to see.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to talk about fireballs. I don't think I talked about fireballs last week, but we talk about fireballs a lot, and I've got more fireballs to talk about. A burning fireball was seen shooting across the sky in Cusco, Peru on Thursday, and was recorded on video. Many fireball UFOs have been reported this year from all around the world, including Mexico, Scotland, and the United States. According to CBS News, this latest fireball UFO in Peru is suspected to be a meteorite plunging to the Earth, but no positive identification has been made. And there was also a fireball in Auckland, New Zealand. An unusual light was seen in the sky above Auckland on Saturday evening. Auckland Now describes the descending point of light, which revealed a U-shaped nimbus when it zoomed in and on, was filmed in the sky west of Auckland about 6 p.m. on Saturday. A witness recorded the video of the strange light as it burned through the evening sky, and in the video, the witness states that the object is back, indicating that the flaming object has previously appeared in the area. But according to Auckland Now, astronomers say the light in the sky was probably not a UFO, comet, or rogue planet about to smash into the Earth, but rather the contrail of a plane heading out over the Tasman Sea. So it seemed with this one, with the Auckland sighting, that the astronomers, they actually convinced to lend their opinion on this sighting, were kind of annoyed by it. And that came across right away.
Really?
So they really had to push to get some astronomer to talk about this.
Why would they be annoyed? That's their job.
They came back kind of jokingly with their response.
Really?
Yeah.
That's frustrating. I mean, that's their job. I mean, they're supposed to be experts on things in the sky and in space. And
it's possible that they were somewhat frustrated because I think there were a lot of people commenting on this particular video with things talking about, a planet that would smash into
Nibiru
Earth.
or something.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of got frustrated with that and didn't want to waste their time addressing crazy theories. But
yeah. You know what? I think this is incredible, though. Yet another fireball, maybe two. The one in Peru is a great video to add to a bunch that we've had this summer. I mean, this has been the summer of fireballs.
It's been the year of fireballs.
Well,
it's been
didn't
crazy.
it start in March, I think, when we started really seeing a bunch, and then March, June, July especially, there were quite a few. This is probably like the 8th recorded fireball, and at least maybe the 3rd or 4th, maybe more, that was videotaped in a very good way where you can clearly see this strange object.
Yeah. And, I certainly think that there are quite a few of these, or at least some of these, that are definitely planes in the sky, because contrails with the sun, we've seen demonstrated, can do some bizarre things that you wouldn't suspect. So the plane can actually be out of the sunlight, the setting sun, while the contrails are illuminated. So it creates this weird looking thing in the sky. But others, and many of these other fireball UFO videos, are just completely bizarre.
Yeah, as if, is it a function of where we're seeing more of these fireballs right now? I think it's starting to seem like that. Or is it that there's more people out there videotaping? But there's been people videotaping over the last several years where we only seem to be getting this in the last year, especially this summer. So it does seem like an increase of these fireballs. I think this is really strange, really interesting, something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. And we are doing just that.
Exactly.
Well, again, something that seems to be on the rise, that is UFOs in New Zealand. I've got another UFO sighting in New Zealand here. This one wasn't a fireball, but it was described as a large glowing ball, and it was seen on Tuesday night in the sky above Taradale, a town in the Hawke's Bay region of New Zealand. Resident Calvin Steele grabbed his camera as soon as he noticed a strange light in the sky, and he was able to get the object on video. He explained that the object seemed to pulsate, and it split into two objects. these objects just hovered in the sky. Then following a flash, they were gone. Hawk Bay's Holt Planetarium director and astronomer Gary Sparks has suggested the objects could have been space junk, but the witness disagrees, explaining that there was no indication of disintegrating debris and the objects simply appeared to be hovering. They weren't moving at all. And gotta say, the video is not really worth watching at all. You can't make anything out from this video. Most of the video is him trying to focus on this object, so it's only slightly in focus at the end of the video, and you can see these two distinct lights, but that's it. But going on his description that these lights were one object, a pulsating object, then splitting into two, and then after a flash they vanished, that's an interesting sighting.
Yeah, especially given his testimony.
Right. And again, after the unfortunately low quality video, that's all we've got to go on.
Yeah.
But you should see the video, at least the still from the video.
I've seen the still, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, because there are two objects you can see. One is, I think one is red and one is white. But they seem to have some defined shape to them.
Possibly a defined shape where the shape is the same, so it could have been a movement of solid points of light.
That is absolutely possible.
So,
yep. Well, Alejandro, that is all the news I have for today.
Well, there's something else we need to talk about.
Let's talk about something else.
Dale, I forgot Dale's picture. We haven't talked about that yet.
Well, I don't know if you want to tease people. We don't have it here to show for people watching on the video.
Well, people go online to our Facebook.
They can check out our Facebooks, yeah.
Any of our Facebooks.
Yeah.
Jason's Open Minds is what his is. Maureen's is Maureen Open Minds, or go to the UFO Think Tank /Open Minds radio or my Facebook, and you'll see this absolutely incredibly cool picture done by Dale Hendrickson, who is a character designer for The Simpsons, and it's us. And it's me going, ha ha, being goofy.
You doing
and
what you do all the time,
sitting
yes.
here like this, and Maureen with a laser, and she's some sort of alien, but I mean a very curvy, well-drawn alien. Well, that's going to shoot us with her laser.
She is an alien, so it's an accurate representation. I mean, that's not weird.
Although she said she's protecting us, which I think is better.
Right.
To think of.
Because in the drawing, she's sort of hovering here at the table with the gun, making sure that she's either protecting us or making sure that we stay on time. I don't know.
Right. I don't know what she's doing, but I'm very happy she doesn't really have a laser when she's in here, because I probably would have a couple laser holes.
I think she'd be trigger happy. That is true.
One right here. Be able to see right through my forehead.
But many, 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 many thanks to you, Dale. We appreciate it so much.
It's incredible.
And to show my appreciation, not next week, but the week after, I will be on the show with a coffee mug that has the picture on it.
Oh, really?
So that will be the coffee mug I use on the show.
Wow. Sweet.
Proudly displaying our work of art from our friend Dale.
Yeah, you're going to come to our houses and you're going to see everything with this picture on it, because it's so cool.
Sorry, Dale. We love it that much.
Yep, we just love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much. And, of course, heard from a lot of people who love it, too, because it's so funny and it's so cool.
Yeah, that is right. Well, Alejandro, thank you for letting me be here. That is it for the news. Remember to check out these stories and more at openminds.tv, your source for UFO-related news. I'm Jason McClellan, your Open Minds news correspondent, and you've been briefed.